Part 1. It began on an overcast night when a battered car was discovered on a forgotten side street in an American city best known for its secrets. Inside the trunk lay the body of a distinguished man dressed in an expensive suit, his lifeless form marked by a violent end. The scant clues at the scene were as chilling as they were confounding. A scattering of drug traces on his fingers, and an eerie silence that hinted at the dark underbelly of the urban maze. Detective Alex Mercer, a veteran whose intuition had been tempered by years on the force, was immediately drawn into the unfolding mystery. Every element of the case spoke of a double life and hidden alliances, and the detective knew he was staring at a puzzle where nothing was as it appeared. Among the first striking details was a numbered disc tucked away in the car's radio, a recording from a local youth group, its grooves holding secrets that would soon pull Mercer into a world of music, theft, and betrayal. Investigators soon tracked the disc to a musician named Darren Collins, a notorious fellow who admitted to pilfering a vehicle on the night in question, but firmly denied any involvement in the murder, insisting he hadn't even glanced at the trunk that concealed the grim evidence. Yet as Mercer probed deeper, the tangled web of clues began to take shape. An expensive car, a stolen vehicle from a humble roadside diner, and whispers of an underworld where drugs and double crosses were currency. The plot thickened when a shadow fell over every suspect. In the midst of mounting evidence and conflicting testimonies, an unexpected twist emerged. As soon as Mercer closed in on his prime suspect, an elusive figure with ties to the city's darkest dealings, the man was found dead, leaving nothing but unanswered questions and a blood-stained trail. The detective couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary crime. It was a deliberate act of misdirection, a false trail meant to confound even the most seasoned investigator. Every glance at the spent scene, every scrap of evidence found amidst the urban decay, whispered of a larger conspiracy, a dangerous game played by men with nothing left to lose. Part 2 coming next. Part 2. Mercer's investigation soon took him to the dimly lit interior of a small roadside diner, the same modest establishment where the stolen car had apparently found its first shelter. Grainy surveillance footage from that very night had revealed a fleeting glimpse, the reflection of the murdered man clutching a phone, its glowing screen displaying a number that would later prove pivotal. This singular detail, captured in a split-second image, hinted at a hidden identity, a man whose very existence seemed shrouded in the kind of secrecy that only the urban underworld could foster. With each new clip and snippet of evidence, Mercer realized that the case was as layered as any classic tale of betrayal and vengeance. In a search that seemed destined to replicate the labyrinthine complexity of a Hollywood noir, the detectives' team combed through the debris left behind at the restaurant. Their meticulous efforts unearthed two items that would become the beating heart of the investigation: a heavy, well-worn baseball bat and a battered black briefcase half hidden amid the dense underbrush near the diner. Forensic analysis of the briefcase quickly revealed fingerprints that matched those of a small-time criminal known as Edward Adams, a man whose reputation for operating on the fringes of the law was as notorious as it was dangerous. Yet when Mercer attempted to interrogate Adams, he was met with the grim news that the courier had already met a fatal end, his body later discovered in the trunk of his girlfriend's car. The apparent demise of Adams raised as many questions as it answered, leaving Mercer to wonder about the roles played by hidden hands in this unfolding saga. As Mercer's narrative of clues deepened, fresh fragments of the puzzle emerged from forgotten corners. Rumors began swirling around a clandestine drug courier operation, a covert exchange where dangerous secrets were passed as discreetly as whispered rumors down dark alleyways. Investigators learned that Edward Adams had been tasked with delivering a mysterious briefcase on behalf of a notorious narcotics supplier known only as Griffin. The trail, laden with treachery, took an unexpected twist when it was revealed that the stolen car's owner, a man soon revealed to be Paul Rogan, had discovered the briefcase by chance. In what appeared to be a meticulously orchestrated act of desperation and betrayal, Griffin arrived on the scene and, in a fit of ruthless determination, unleashed violence using the very bat recovered near the diner, which resulted in Paul Rogan's brutal demise. At the same time, the courier, Adams, became yet another casualty, his fate sealed by a cold and calculated assault. Amid the chaos that ensued, another layer of the mystery began to unfurl. Deep in the midst of the investigation, Mercer received details of a desperate phone call from a woman whose anguish resonated with the gravity of the situation. Her trembling voice on the line narrated a heartbreaking accusation that her husband, a devoted fitness trainer named Paul, had taken a dark turn and was somehow entangled in a deadly love affair, murdering his own lover in an impulsive act of passion gone terribly wrong. The woman, identified only as Victoria in the scattered accounts, painted a picture of a relationship where love, deceit, and murder intermingled in a dangerous dance. Each revelation, each newly discovered fact, further blurred the line between victim and perpetrator, leaving Mercer to navigate an ever-thickening plot of lies, cover-ups, and unforeseen connections. As the evidence continued to mount, he realized that this case was not merely about a single act of violence, but rather a sprawling narrative in which every character was both a suspect and a victim of a sinister conspiracy. Part 3. As Mercer continued piecing together the fragments of this twisted case, the final layers of the narrative began to coalesce into a picture that was as disturbing as it was eye-opening. The stolen car, the numbered disc, the hidden briefcase, the clues all pointed toward a deliberate orchestration of events designed to mislead and confound. Investigators eventually uncovered that the enigmatic courier, known in whispers as Edward Adams, had been entrusted with delivering a crucial briefcase on behalf of a notorious drug supplier known only as Griffin. Instead of fulfilling his assignment, Adams chose to hide the briefcase behind his car, where fate intervened in a sinister twist. The owner of the car, a man later identified as Paul Rogers in local circles, discovered this hidden cargo and, driven by desperate ambition, claimed it for himself. However, his actions unwittingly set off a chain reaction, a violent confrontation that would forever alter the fates of those embroiled in this criminal drama. When Griffin eventually arrived, the tension reached a boiling point. In a moment of cold, calculated fury, he unleashed a brutal assault on Paul Rogers with that very bat discovered near the roadside diner. In the ensuing melee, the courier, Edward Adams, also fell victim to Griffin's ruthless attack. In a grim echo of poetic justice, both men were found later hidden in the trunks of their own vehicles, a macabre secret left behind for those daring enough to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, in a bizarre twist that blurred the lines between victim and perpetrator, Victoria, a woman whose anguish was as palpable as the tension that shrouded the case, revealed that she had heard a desperate phone call. In that call, her own husband, a dedicated fitness trainer once known by another name, now simply as Paul, admitted to a betrayal so dark it had set the entire sequence of events into motion, implicating him in an affair that ended in a deadly collision of love and violence. Every piece of evidence, every whispered rumor in the city's underbelly, beckoned Mercer to look deeper into a case that was more than just a series of isolated crimes. It was a sprawling, interconnected web of ambition, betrayal, and regret. The detective realized that the carefully laid clues, the fingerprints on a battered briefcase, the fleeting glimpse on a diner's surveillance video, all served as red herrings in a masterfully orchestrated deception. In this labyrinth of lies, motives shifted like shadows at sundown, leaving Mercer to wonder whether anyone, or anything, could ever escape the corrupt grasp of this urban nightmare. And so, as the investigation stood at a crossroads of unresolved questions and scars too deep to heal, Mercer was left with one final, haunting inquiry. In a city where every secret has its price and every truth is shrouded in darkness, how many more souls must be sacrificed before justice finally shines a light on the pervasive corruption lurking just beneath the surface?